Welcome, everyone, to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway. Good to have you all here tonight. Oh, my goodness, it has been a minute since we've been on last. We were taking a break, getting Theresa all settled into her new place. It's taken a lot of time and energy, but check out her new place. She's in it. She's loving it. Life is good for Theresa. Ba-ba, ba-ba, ba-ba. Cool. We sure have missed everybody. It's been a long time coming. As you can see, we've got some new logo work. I've been working really hard on the next 10 shows, and this is the first show of the new series, and that is the human curriculum. So each week we're going to dive into new topics, and a lot of this material is material that we've gone over in the past. But now we've got new spins, new directions, new understandings. We're learning every single day. And so now we're starting to really come into our own. It's been a long journey. We've been doing this since 2020. And if you're new to the channel, we're a group of like-minded individuals who come together every week to discuss all things metaphysics and self-development, self-worth, self-love, those types of things. And we're very spiritual, but not in a religious kind of way, but in a very new agey, no fluff, no puff kind of, common sense, truth, and love. We're all part of the universe, and we're here to just make a difference with each and every show, and also to be that guiding light for others to, show them the way. To shine the light and show people that you can change, shift, and morph into something new and exciting and be the best version of yourself that you can be. So that is the purpose of this show in a nutshell. Also, you're seeing the ticker at the bottom. StreamYard has a new format. So we're just making sure everyone, if your screen is cut off and it looks different, go to YouTube. There's a second link. Check out that link for your device. So yeah. So as people are rolling in, we'll let them do that. I thought we would do a quick catch up with everyone and introduce ourselves to some of our new audience. Let me get into this and show our names. Hi, everyone. I'm Laurie. I'm the producer of A7. Typically come up with the content. And these are our contributors and the people that we love and appreciate that come on every week and share their thoughts, feelings, opinions, and emotions and things that they've learned. So, Theresa, how have you been? What's new with Theresa? And then as people are filing in, we'll go to the chat and get things going. But first, let's just kind of catch up a little bit and people can get to know who we are. So, Theresa, how you been? Whoa. Looks like you're muted there, my dear. Let me help you out. Let's try that again.
Oh, I didn't know I was muted. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I was saying I love every minute of building this little palace. So I'm very happy.
Good.
For a long time. First time in a long time. Very, very happy.
It's
been grateful.
Yeah, a lot of gratitude. Well, you're looking good. Looks and we've noticed you've lost some weight, and
I keep doing that, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So you moved from Maryland to Sparks, Nevada.
That's right.
And how do you like the area?
I love everybody here. So friendly and so nice and considerate. And I haven't met a single rude person since I've been here, no matter where I've been. So I know it's the right place for me. And everyone's been very helpful, very supportive. You and your family and just folks around here in this community that I've moved into. Friendly, really friendly people here. And some of them have been here for 20, 30, 40 years. It's not so long, but they're all very cordial, very friendly. They had a potluck dinner I went to the other night, and that was fun to get to meet some people.
Nice little retirement community.
Climate here is very different than Maryland. Yeah, a lot better for me. And I already feel the difference in my breathing and everything. So I'm looking forward to the spring here when I can get to my planting and gardening and
Good.
outdoor activities. Yeah. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you're settling in and all is well in
Mhm.
Theresa's world.
It's
Good.
been a lot of ups and downs. You'll hear about all
Mhm.
that later, or
Yep.
bits and pieces as it pertains to the discussion. But
Sure.
for the most part, it's finally unfolded, and I'm
Mhm.
actually living here and sleeping in a real bed and not a blow up mattress. And
So you've been
so
roughing it, that's for sure. Well,
yeah,
good.
I'm not camping anymore. Let's put it to you that way.
That's good. I'm glad things are going well for you. How about you, Sophia? How have you been? Did you have a good holiday, Christmas, New Year's, all that good stuff? What have you been up to, Sophia?
Oh boy. Working the muggle hustle, lots of readings, instructing at camp now. So
Hmm.
that's what's new and a privilege. I'm blessed to serve. Um, just starting off the new year fresh. I mean, nothing like starting out the new year with readings and platform demonstration, talking to people's past loved ones and guides and doing a sermon tomorrow and more message work. So let's go, Spirit. Let's go.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
good. Exciting.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's good to be back. Good to see everybody.
It's good to have you back, Sophia.
Yeah.
I've missed
Thank you.
you all, no doubt about it. It's
You too,
like
man.
food for the soul, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But
It's
yeah,
good.
awesome. Grandpa Brian, how about you? How was your holidays? What have you been up to? How is life and things for you? And of course, how's Luna doing?
Oh, Luna's doing wonderful. Just been busy working.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, did a couple shows with Lucky while we were on break, and
Yes, I caught some of that. The what if was really interesting. I enjoyed that conversation. I,
I think it's going to be an every Saturday night thing now with the two of us
oh,
at,
good. I'm
at
glad
8
to hear
p.m.
that.
We
Yeah,
get, we
Awesome.
get along really good, and we kind of really gel good together.
that's
So,
good. Well, I love that. Lucky is an amazing guy, no doubt
oh
about
yes,
it.
he is.
Yeah, yeah. And he's full of love and light as well. And that is
Hmm.
that's a good thing. So
Yep.
wonderful. How's Trina?
Oh, she's doing great.
Good.
Busy. Uh,
Uh-huh.
she worked late tonight. Otherwise, she probably would have joined us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's just busy. But she got her new puppy. Her name is
Oh,
Chloe.
oh, how cute is
Oh,
that?
It's a Shih Tzu. Oh
Lhasa?
no, Yorkie mix,
Oh my goodness.
nice,
That
nice.
dog is gonna go everywhere with her.
and she's a little cutie. Well, she was a puppy mill dog. She was in a kennel for about 3-4 years, just breeding, and then became a service dog to people that was passing away. So she's actually Trina's like her fourth owner because the other
Oh,
two owners both passed. One just passed away recently, and the one before then. So she's starting to get used to Trina, and
aw.
so oh
Well,
yeah,
good for
Trina just
Trina.
loves her to death.
Yeah, we love Trina. Yeah, I'm so pleased for her. And having an animal in your life is one of the greatest blessings you can have, no doubt about it. They're
Oh, it's
just
unconditional love.
it is pure and simple, and who doesn't need more of that?
Exactly.
Oh, did our hostess freeze up there for a moment?
It seems that way.
Yep.
Okay. Well, she'll be back in a second. You know her. She makes her way back in. There she is. Oh, we heard her snicker. There you go.
I'm like technology, fungula.
All right, she's back.
All right. Nick and Jasmine, the adorables, as I was saying, how have you guys been and how have your holidays been? What's going on? What's new with you? What are you guys doing?
You want to go first?
So besides working, I mean, I like working, so I'm not gonna complain about it. I've just been working a lot. And I've been having a lot of opportunities to do more animal readings, which I really love. And then I found another group, like almost like a women's group, like Healing Circle. and I was exposed to other modalities and this different type of healing. So it's been good. I've been liking the journey so far of my new adventures. So
Wonderful. Wonderful. How about you, Nick?
Well, I started to bounce back from that whole suicide fiasco that happened that I talked about in previous
Yeah.
episodes.
Yes, that was
I
real
don't think
heavy.
I told you guys about the murder case, though, did I?
No, what are you
No.
talking
Oh,
about? Fill us in.
So I had another friend that I considered a brother that I knew over 20 years. Like 3 years ago, he got shot and killed, and he was roommates, so I'm the one that found the body and everything. Well, a year ago, they found the guy, and his trial finally started last month, and he got found guilty on all charges. So now the sentencing is this month at the end of it. So almost done with that. I've been Ubering to help with money, and then I got a job interview next week. If I get it, I'll talk more about that, but it's light work related. I've been brainstorming ideas on what to talk about next, not only on here, but for the website that me and Jasmine are periodically working on. Because I have this whole like system in my head of how I'm going to organize the classes.
Oh.
And the prerequisites.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's like there's gonna be like the beginner classes or whatever, right? And then the step above that, it's gonna be like you need this, and this before you can take this class. That's the type of organization I'm going about it.
Good. You're moving into a different direction.
Yeah.
Kind of more expansive for yourself with new experiences and a whole new ball game. It sounds like, Nick.
Yeah. Would be my 4th reset.
Yes. Yeah.
Everything does get change.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with resets. That's just
Yeah, it happens.
refocusing your energy, and it's a good thing. So
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, it sure is good to see you all, and thank you so much for being here. I'm going to refer to some notes, and I really am excited about this new series, The Human Curriculum, where life stops being random and starts being revelatory. So today we're talking about triggers, right, everyone? Those moments when someone says or does something, suddenly your whole nervous system lights up like a Christmas tree. So here's the situation. You're calm, you're grounded, you're sipping your coffee, and then someone makes a comment that hits you right in the identity. Boom, you're activated. Okay. Where do these patterns come from, and why do we experience them? So before we get into that and the triggers, let's go ahead and just talk to our chatters in the live chat box here. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to make comments. We have a lot of really good chatters that come in, and they're always have really good things to say. Hi, Renee. It's good to see you. Glad to see you here. Thank you for being here. Scotty Boy, as always. Oh, I think you changed your handle there a little bit. I don't remember that 6'9" on the end of your name. But hey, it's all good. Wonderful to see you. Hope you're doing well. Holidays were good for you. See who else we have. And people are still kind of rolling in. Loving it. Yeah. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through, trying to see who's here. Oh, Steve. Very good to see you, Steve Bow. How are you, my friend? How are those kids and how's school going? Hope you're doing well. Always a pleasure to see you. Yep. Thanks for being here. Renee is Theresa's realtor here in Sparks, Nevada. So good to have you with us, Renee. One of the best realtors I've ever come in contact with. If you're in the Reno Sparks area, talk to Renee, and if you need a realtor, let us know. Send us an email. We'll hook you up with her. She's fantastic. So thanks for being here. Really appreciate that. Okay, so we are caught up with that. Let's get into this. So I think it's really important for us to understand what an archetype is. And it's a universal pattern, a character. It's a type of symbol, a theme, or a behavioral pattern. But not only that, psychologist Carl Jung described archetypes as inherited patterns, and in the collective unconscious, shaping how we think, feel, and interpret the world. Now, this concept has been referred to as the parental programming. So our parents, our guardians, are often our first lesson in archetypes. We tend to react to situations the same way they do because our first example in life are their inherent archetypes. It helps shape how we think, feel, and interpret the world. Now, here's what's really interesting. Each one of us has an oversoul, and each oversoul experiences each consecutive lifetime. So you all heard of that everything, everywhere, all at once. Those lifetimes that are stacked upon each one, and how the oversoul is experiencing every lifetime all at the same time. So now the soul has accumulated and amassed multiple archetypes over each incarnation, and it will draw from this memory bank to assist the soul in the evolution. And that's the purpose of the oversoul. So you're a fractal of the oversoul, having an experience, a specific experience that you help create between yourself and the oversoul. And that's where this pre-birth programming archetypal energy comes from. And this is done through the pre-birth agreements and that blueprint for your current lifetime. So every person that is in your life is, well, in essence, an archetype. And that is a reflection of yourself. So everyone is a reflection of yourself. So the triggers in our lives, the people that trigger us the most, those are our greatest teachers. And it's a simple messenger. It points to a belief you've outgrown but haven't updated. And it's not the event, it's the meaning attached to it. So I thought it would be very good to talk about triggers, things that trigger you. Now, we've just come through the holidays. We had Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, and we all experienced triggers. And so I thought it would be interesting to talk about, for each of us, what has been a trigger for you and how did you get through it and how did you deal with it? Did you recognize it? Were you the conscious observer of the trigger? Were you caught up in the emotion and the energy of it? Or were you able to stand back and recognize what the energy was and what was going on? So that's what I'm fascinated to hear about each and every one of you. So Theresa, we'll go ahead and start with you. What has been a trigger for you and how did you deal with it?
Many, many triggers. And I didn't deal as well as I thought I would, given the stage of development that I'm in, but at least I was able to recognize them more quickly. But I would have to say my most challenging trigger were the ones that I triggered myself. Do you believe it's possible to trigger yourself? Because you can. Mm-hmm. And it's usually had to do with my expectations and my role in the world and why I wasn't fulfilling that role the way I usually do, and trying to jump in and handle things the way I used to do, project manager, task manager, and when things didn't go my way, I would get really frustrated and start evaluating myself based on the way I used to be and what I've evolved into and why am I not as effective as I used to be. I just put myself through the grinder. And as I was doing that, I was building resistance. And the more resistance I built, the more things didn't unfold in anywhere near the outcome I expected. So I got myself thinking it's never going to happen the right way. It's never, maybe this isn't meant to be, or maybe I did something wrong somewhere, or maybe the universe is ghosting me, is what we were talking about, using that term. Mm-hmm. And it was none of the above. It was me not able to get out of my own way. And when you can't step out of your own way and keep confusing things and trying to do all these things to make the outcome fit what you're expecting, then you lose control. You lose self-control, and you also, the universe is like, you want more of that? We'll give you more of that. So you're actually building a situation or an environment that you don't want. And so once I was able to figure out, hey, I can't park my thoughts here. I can't be in this space of my new frequency, which means I can't expect to manage myself the way I used to, because I've changed. And so because I've changed, I'm trying to do things the old way, which is a very human, egoistic way of doing things, as opposed to embracing my new true self in a new environment and letting things go with the flow and unfold. The minute I got into that mode of tapping into my own current, in other words, I dropped down in frequency, and then I had to go back up again in frequency once I recognized I was out of sync. And so once I was in sync with my own heart, my own thoughts, and my higher mind, things just started happening like crazy. The universe sent me helpers, earth angels such as yourself and your family members, and my friends back home. My realtors, both of them, use an incredible amount of what I would call patience in dealing with me, because I had some moments that were not nice. I was ugly a few times, and they hung in there with me. My old neighbors helping me remotely from Maryland when I couldn't be there, they stepped in and took care of things. My brother stepped up more so than usual, and it was a strain on him too. So I just got filled with gifts. People sent me money, or money would show up in my account unexpectedly, like a refund from the government, or I would start getting money in just when I thought I can't even afford a breadstick. And I'm staying in a dump. Well, it wasn't a dump. It was a nice place. And I was helping people there, and they were helping me. You start seeing things through a clouded veil when you allow yourself to get trapped up in these triggers you set for yourself. You can be your own trigger.
What's good about it, even if it's a negative experience or things are quite positive, what's good about it? If you can find what's good about every situation, then you extract the good and you understand the lesson the trigger is actually teaching you.
Exactly. And it was teaching me, stop creating your own trauma. You're here to enjoy. You're here to get out of trauma and create a new environment. And you're just creating more trauma. And it's not that you were programmed by anybody specifically to be that way. You programmed yourself. I programmed myself through my career development. I prided myself in my ability to do certain things. But when I got into a situation where everything was out of control and it wasn't within mine to control necessarily, I could only control my response to it. And the minute I started controlling my response to it and letting it flow and being in the space of acceptance and grace, thankfulness,
and
then everything. Now I'm in a palace. So, and I have more money than I need in my bank. I have what I need to do what I need to do. And so I'm very grateful to the universe, all the guides that stuck with me and came to me in my times of trouble. And when I went to meditate, I was surrounded by spirits. And by the way, now other spirits are finding me. And so what I'm hearing I'm just bombarded now with all kinds of spiritual contact.
Spiritual gifts are online now.
Yeah, I'm on fire with
But you did the work, Theresa. You worked really hard. And you should be very, very pleased with yourself because you persevered, you endured it, and you were able to shift your understanding. So congratulations on that.
Thanks.
And that makes life sweeter, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Good for you. Yeah. Awesome. How about you, Sophia? Any triggers for you? What have your triggers been teaching you?
I had a pretty decent trigger.
Yeah.
Instead of a family member ignoring me, this one actually called me out and told me they were praying for my soul.
Ooh.
I almost asked for his pastor's name, but I'm not that condescending, vengeful person. But 25-minute conversation, I actually was like, you know what? I'm the happiest, healthiest, and wealthiest I've been in my entire life. If that's not good enough for you, why don't you go pray for someone else?
Wow.
Well,
Profound.
it's like we can talk about weather, we can talk about sports, we can just not talk about religion, because if you think of me and you're sad, don't think of me. It's not that complicated. So that, and it really did. It really did tick me off, because it had the passive aggressive preamble that those kind of conversations generally have. And I was like, what's up? Are you pissed off at someone else? And then I finally told my brother, I'm like, you know what? Thank you for having the guts and the microphone to speak your truth, instead of waiting to call me when something goes bump in the night. So that's my latest trigger, but it just reinforced things that have already been into place, that I can only control myself. Not everybody is going to like me, even a blood relative. But I was kind of proud of him for calling it what it is, instead of pretending, that, everything was great, everything's fine. No, it's not. You're a bigot. It's okay. You were a bigot long before we had that conversation, and you will be one long after our conversation's over. Peace out, Girl Scout.
Yeah. And that's really learned behavior. And
It
that's
is.
what I'm talking about with the archetypes. We pick up this energy and we don't really realize it, because what's happening is you're getting this reflection and you're confused by it. It's go ahead.
Here's the cool part. My beloved husband, which we all know I'm rightly obsessed with from head to toe, hail Team Leo. I'm not a quiet person. If you've spent any time with me at all, I am not a quiet person. Do not take me to libraries. Do not take me to movie theaters. Airports. But, anyway, while I was having that conversation, one, I never raised my voice. Two, I didn't cuss. I know. Did you feel the earth shake? I did. But there's a adjoining room, and I knew my husband could hear me. And I was upset when I hung up. I'm like, we're just going to agree to disagree. And I'm going to have to learn to be at peace with that. And after I hung up, my husband was like, I am so proud of you. He's like, do you realize you didn't cuss him? You didn't threaten him. You didn't lose his shit. You still have a smile on your face. So, yeah.
So you dealt with it in a completely different way. You weren't triggered by the emotion that he was putting out at you in hopes that he could trigger you, because really that's what people, when they do trigger you, that's the hope, is to kind of reel you in. And that law of attraction, that makes them feel more powerful within themselves. Like, hey, I can influence this person. I've got some kind of control.
Well, I look at it this way. I know who I am, and I'm not ashamed of who I am. And if anybody asks me to be ashamed of what I am, they can get the same treatment that the people before them did. And that is radio silence, because getting close to someone is a privilege. And the only person you can change is yourself. So if you're the people changing business, I hope you're getting down with team futility, because that's the kind of fruit you're going to bear. But it really, kind of like what you had said before the show, Laurie, a lot has changed in a short amount of time, and I'm just happy to be here. And if you're going to bring some negativity to my table, I'm going to ask you to leave.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're just not going to play that. You're just not going to play. You choose not to.
I'm not a game. I'm not a toy.
No. And you have a lot more self-respect for yourself, that you don't need others to validate who you are.
Exactly.
You are who you are, Sophia. And that's one of the reasons I love you so much, is because you are very authentic, truthful. You're out there, you're blunt, and I love it. It is so refreshing. It's not fake. It's not what I want to hear. It's who you are.
And that's his mind.
Yeah.
But I was not afraid. I'm like, bud, we need to hang out more and not talk about religion.
Yes.
But
yes.
I love him. I'm always going to love him. I got his tattoo right here, but he can do that to someone else. I love who I am. I love what I do, and he doesn't have to approve.
That's right. That's
Teach.
right. Yes. I love that. That's wonderful. Thank you for that perspective, Sophia. Really love that.
Mhm.
How about you, Grandpa Brian? Any triggers for you? Family, friends, anything sticking out at you?
Yeah, there's a couple people that's tried to trigger me here lately,
Okay.
and I kind of like almost reversed it on them. I was like, they'd hit me with that, and I was like, so what reaction are you looking from me?
Mm-hmm.
I said, because you wouldn't have said what you said if you wasn't looking for reaction. So how do you want me to react to what you said? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I was like, well, you said a certain thing to me, knowing that it was going to make me mad or I was going to react to it. So how do you want me to react to it? And usually they don't have a response for that, because 90% of the time they're actually looking for a response from you.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be positive or negative, they are looking for a response. So it's up to you to say, well, how do you want me to respond? Because then you put the onus back on them to where, well, how do I want them to respond to what I just said?
So you're not allowing them to ruffle your feathers, so to speak.
Correct.
Okay.
So I think if you just take the situation and, like I said, and turn it around on them, like, okay, well, how do you want me to react? If you want me to react shitty, I'll react shitty. Is that what you're really wanting?
Mm-hmm.
Or you do me react in a calm and peaceful manner? Because
So
you should have said what you said.
Right. And you're realizing that you have that self-knowledge and power over how you're going to take those emotions and feelings of someone else. You're not giving it power. You're literally diffusing it. Lucky Stone has a really cool comment here, and we'll come back to you, Brian. We trigger ourselves, but some people know our most powerful tiny buttons. Yes, that's very true. But are you allowing your buttons to be pushed? That's where I'm coming from. If the power and the ability to shift your own emotions and feelings are within your control, then recognize it, be the observer, step away from it, and don't get caught up in that current, that behavior, that law of attraction where they're pulling you in and you're playing. Don't participate. Have the strength and the ability to step back and say, this is not for me. And I recognize it for what it is. Would you agree, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I learned, because I used to be that person. Bam, immediately.
Me too.
Snap right back at him.
Instant.
And then I learned
Mm-hmm.
they're looking for a reaction from you. Otherwise, they wouldn't have said what they said to you. They want you to react to it. So if you don't react to it, then that actually kind of aggravates them, because you're not reacting to the trigger that they wanted you to. They're not getting the response that they wanted from you.
Yep. And you can leave the situation knowing that you didn't give up any of that energy from yourself. You didn't
Correct.
fall into that. And you had the realization to just step back and see it for what it was. So you're the one in control of whether or not someone can press your buttons. You have the ability to recognize it and not be caught up in any of it, and make a conscious decision to say, that's not where I want to be right now. But I respect your ability and right to be where you need to be. That is your path. This is not my path.
Yep,
Go ahead.
That's when you have to step back real quick and be the observer of the situation. Why is this situation happening? What are they trying to get the result that they want out of me? And do I want to give them the satisfaction of that result?
Yes.
And that's what we mean when we talk about the higher mind, the observer. Mm-hmm. Because as souls, as spirits, we're in another realm observing everything that's going on in all these different dimensions. And as soon as you recognize that you're the observer of your own self, then you can course correct or help nudge your current archetype into doing the things that are best suited for their best outcome possible for everyone. But being the observer is hard to do when you're in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
So you've learned how to release and let go and observe those actions from a higher level. And before we move on, hey, Laurie, I just wanted to say we've got some new folks. We noticed that when we were doing the trailer. Wildwater, welcome. Jay Seffer, welcome. Tulip Cafe, Nishan, here's your shout out you asked for. Welcome to the program. And Trina Bean, of course, is out there making her little comments. We love you, Trina.
Congrats on your new puppy dog.
Yeah. Woofy. What's the puppy dog's name?
Chloe.
That's right.
Chloe.
Chloe. Yeah.
Okay.
I
cool.
love that. That's fantastic.
Awesome.
Awesome. So Brian, how did that, knowing how you would react in the past, how different does it feel now that you are able to have that energetic energy where you just don't allow that anymore? How does that make you feel as a whole spirit now and a human?
It makes me feel like I'm in control of my emotions. I don't let my emotions control me. I control my emotions. The thing was, when I reacted like that, they just ended up walking away. Because they were looking for a response, and when I didn't give them the response, there was no longer to have the conversation.
Yeah,
but I'm really learning how to control my emotions and not let my emotions control me, because a lot of people just let their emotions control them, and then usually that's disastrous.
And how would you tell someone, how can I control my emotions? You've got somebody out here watching this show going, yeah, sounds real easy for all you guys. Yeah, you're all ascended, blah, blah, blah. You see things differently, but how do I, the everyday Joe, how do I get there? What can I do? What would you say to that person who's watching now?
It starts by meditation and connecting with your inner self. Once you find your inner self and you connect, then it's so much easier to control your emotions, because you're connected to the whole of you and not just one aspect of yourself.
A good way of doing that. May I jump in real quick?
Yes, please do.
A good way of doing that, I've discovered, getting to know yourself, treating yourself with love and respect. It's that self-talk. I jotted down before the show. These are things that create that self-triggering behavior that I was talking about earlier too. I have to have it all together. I must succeed. I didn't get it done. I can't make a mistake. I can't afford to make a mistake. I'll let everyone down. I feel exhausted. I don't feel like smiling. You see, these are just a few. And these are the things that put you in a mindset or a frequency where you're not loving yourself, let alone how could you possibly love anybody else around you or cut anybody any slack when all they're doing is bringing you information. You're going to kill the messenger, because you're seeing a reflection in something they're doing that's self-reflected within yourself. And you get all bottled up and frustrated, and you start those thought processes going. And that's
how is this teaching me? What is this lesson for me? You start analyzing it instead of getting caught up in it. Ooh, that's anger. Ooh, that's interesting. Why is that happening? How did I make that happen? Am I responsible for their actions? You just start going through. Yeah, Sophia, go ahead.
I can only speak from my own experience, because not everything's going to work for everybody. But I would say, starting with figuring out who you are, know yourself, question everything, love yourself, find your truth, be teachable, keep going. We're not meant to be down here and be miserable. We create our own happiness, our own unhappiness. Oh, that sounds like that's some spiritualism right there, kids. And a myriad of other spiritual.
What do you mean I'm not responsible for what you think? What the heck are you talking about?
See, some people are just born with straight manipulators up in their house. They don't even know they're manipulating because they were raised by one, so that's all that they know. So
Yeah.
I would say, because if you can address if you can identify a manipulator that is ignorant of their imbalance, disengage. You're not to have conversation with unreasonable people. Now, that is Havamal. Sayings of the High One, out of the Poetic Edda. We've met. So yeah, a lot of people don't know what they're doing, but until you know who you truly are, instead of rinse repeating the fresh freaking Kool-Aid you were raised with,
Yeah.
come on, man, stand up or sit down. Something. If you're here in this channel listening to any of this, I would say you're resonating more with the stand-up crowd than the sit-down crowd. So find your flag and wave it. Because
I love that.
I got time for phony.
Yes.
Time for phony.
I love that. That's
That is all.
fantastic.
Thank
That
you.
is all. Wonderful. Well, adorables. Nick, how about you? What's going on? Any triggers? I'm sure you've got something to share.
Okay, story time to understand where I come from when I talk about this. So,
Okay.
one of the philosophies that I really am into is called Stoicism. And for your new viewers, no, I'm not talking about modern day Stoicism that all these toxic masculinity influencers like to spread around. It's the antithesis to what Stoicism is really supposed to be about. Best example I can think of is Andrew Tate. He's the prime example of what Stoicism is not. But anyways, one of the philosophers in this philosophy is called Seneca, and within this topic, a quote of his comes to mind. So let me pull that up right quick. It's I've learned the best way to end something is to let it starve. No response, no action, no altercations, just don't feed it. That's where the true power lies. So when you say, do I have many triggers? No, for the majority of them, I've cut them out of my life entirely. Don't care if they were blood family. Don't care if they were friends. Like, as soon as you start acting like you're not in my highest and best, like you're against me, like you're competing with me instead of working with me, gone. That's it. And, they always want to cry and complain when it happens, but no, I don't got time for that. Like, if I'm sitting in a murder trial with the guy that killed my brother of 20 years, like, if I have the mental and emotional intelligence to keep a cool head dealing with that 3 days in a row, you really think I'm going to waste my time with immaturity or toxicity or stuff that's going to delay me on my life path? No, I'm not. So yes, the only thing that's really triggered me as of late was that individual. Because it brought up some trauma that I went through. It wasn't a fun time, but yeah, other than that, I'm good.
But you got past it, you recognized it, and you didn't allow it to really grow legs, so to speak.
Exactly. And I'll have to see the guy one more time on the 30th of this month. And that's when they give everyone an opportunity to like make a little speech or whatever to tell them how it affects us and stuff like that. And I could say a bunch of stuff, but this is how it went. He killed him on Thanksgiving night. In my perspective, how miserable and unlucky is your life that instead of being with your family, chilling and eating food and sleeping or watching movies or whatever, you're out at night looking to rob someone. So, I look at it that way. So that way I can gain empathy instead of revenge. I transmute those emotions.
What's good about it? What's good about each and every situation you're
What's
in?
human about it?
Very good.
Yeah. So, because I got to remember at the end of the day, he killed my brother, but he's still human. I don't know his full story. So,
what's interesting about the story you just told is oftentimes when someone is murdered, it can revert back to previous lifetimes where the roles were different. The roles were reversed.
Oh, Laurie, you got time for more story? Because it's interesting you bring that up. Okay,
go right ahead. Let's go down that rabbit hole just real quick.
So I am pretty honest with who I am in
Mhm.
regards to who I've reincarnated from. I am a reincarnation of Thoth. This guy that got killed was a reincarnation of Ra. Yes, that's happened before. Same pattern, same mentalities. Something would make him emotionally unstable. He would get reckless and violent, and then he would get killed for it. That's the basic pattern. But the only difference this time was he wasn't the aggressor. Someone else was the aggressor, but he was still putting himself out in the open.
Yeah, he was putting it out there.
He was being reckless. Yeah,
Mhm.
he was hanging out at night by himself outside. Me and a bunch of other friends kept telling him for years, stop doing that.
Yeah.
You know? He just wasn't listening. He would make promises and then break them. So the way I see it, life had to teach him a lesson because he wasn't getting it.
You
There's-
know,
Go ahead.
hold on just a second.
Yeah.
What I see with you, Nick, is that you carry the archetype of Thoth. Thoth is pure truth. So you carry truth. And so you, in and of yourself, are the reflection of that truth to others. So
Yeah.
you reflect that back because of that archetype.
Yes.
Do you,
No,
do you resonate with that?
Yes. I'm. It's one of those. Okay, so there's 3 body types for energetic things. It's a generator, something else, and then a projector. I'm a projector. Basically, what that means is that I get energy from someone else and I amplify it.
Yep.
So in a way, I can be a mirror. If someone
Yes.
presents themselves to me, all they gotta do is start talking, and all of a sudden I'll start telling them a bunch of stuff that'll make sense to them, but they won't understand where I'm coming from, or how I got that information. That's one of my abilities,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I can view this as, you know, this guy is still human. He's a murderer. You know, he has to learn that lesson and have the consequences that go with it. But when I give my speech on how it affected me, I'm not going to come at him with hate. I'm going to come at him with love, hoping that instead of wasting this time, he will use it to self-reflect and become a better person. Because he's still alive. He can become better still. He doesn't have to wait till death and then have to go through a bunch of other BS, you know?
So you have to have the strength to first of all understand what's really going on from a different perspective, but you also have to have the empathy to understand their side and what they're experiencing, what their soul path is.
Oh,
And
it gets even deeper than that, Laurie. So I have a teacher. He was also a friend. I knew him in a past life when I was in the CIA, roughly. Well, I'm almost 30 now, so that was 50 years ago. So he's still alive. I ended up meeting him again, but
Fascinating.
yeah. But so anyways, you know, I was learning a bunch of stuff. This is when I was starting to like actually apply the metaphysics instead of just like playing with it. I was actually applying it to my life and getting results. So I met him, learned a bunch of stuff. One of the things that he was showing me when I was learning from him is that he can, I don't know how he does it, but he manipulates time. He sees he's done predictions, like this whole silver fiasco that's going on right now. He told me this 7 years ago.
Wow.
I already put stocks in silver because of that. So
Precious metals.
Yeah, same thing with Trump becoming president. 2 terms, almost getting killed twice. He also predicted that like 4 years before it happened. You know, just stuff like that. My first interaction with him, he was typing what I was going to tell him before I sent it. That was my first interaction with him. So I'm like, you know, how you doing that? How you know what I'm about to tell you? So the reason why I bring that up is I told him I was wanting to visit him in California so I can learn more from him. I told him I was going to bring some friends. And hold on. I'm trying to make sure I'm remembering this correctly. So I tell him the names of the 2 individuals I was going to bring. He didn't mention Jerry, but he asked me who Desmond was. And he spelled his name wrong when he said it. So instead of a S, he put an S instead of a Z for his name. That's an important little tidbit for at the end. But I got confused. I'm like, what do you mean? You don't remember Desmond at all? I was like, I'm thinking in my head, well, he knows how to mess with time. So only 1 or 2 things happen. Desmond's not a coward. Like once, like he was he was all on my trip of going to California and stuff like that. He wouldn't back out. So there's one of two things that would happen. He'd either die or he backstabs me. I didn't think he was going to backstab me either. Like I had like zero doubt of that. So the only thing I think it was death. So I figured out from his hints, he was giving me hints this entire time, that he was going to die in 3 months. I knew Desmond was going to die in 3 months. So I did everything that I possibly could to change his habits and mindset in those 3 months to prevent it. Because like you said, I'm a mirror. I can point out what's wrong and what's going right. And if people can humble themselves and listen to me, they can actually benefit a whole lot from it.
Yes. But people do have a destiny point in their life to experience certain things.
Yeah.
And as much as you want to help and give them the tools to change it, that's not always possible, because their path is their path, and it's going to happen whether you help or not.
I agree. And I learned that the hard way. So, so it was almost the 3 months. As soon as we signed the lease, he broke one of his promises immediately. That's when I knew. I was like, I can't stop this. It's out of my hands now. I can't say
a runaway train.
I can't say no to the lease. I'm not signing it. This is a done deal. I had like a week left. So I thought I could figure it out in time. But no. They sped it up on me. They literally did it the night after. So that's when I realized, I was like, I can give the answers on a silver platter, but it's up to you can lead a horse to water.
You can't make them drink.
Yeah. So that was a harsh lesson that I had to learn at the time. I figured it out, went through all the grief, so I get it. But
so Nick, how did that change you? How did that change you, and how did you evolve from that situation?
So when I'm still kind of controlling, but when I was younger, I was extremely controlling. Like I didn't mind people doing it their way as long as they showed me they were competent. But as soon as you start showing me you're an imbecile, I stop listening to you, and I give you an ultimatum. I say, you're either doing it my way or you can get out of Dodge. That's
when you were younger, Nick, did you have control over your situations, or were you being controlled by others?
I would say it was like the best way I can describe that is like a tug of war. I was always open-minded and skeptical, and like stood in my power since I was tiny. Like I've always had that like self-identity. I never let anyone tamper with that. Hell, they were trying to put me in the gate programs, and my instincts told me, no, play dumb. They're trying to indoctrinate you into the government like they did before. I was like, so I played dumb, and since I was an underachiever because I wasn't doing my work, they put me off to the side. So just an example.
What I think is interesting about the story that you told is that typically people who are controlling are because in their lifetime, there were periods where they didn't feel like they had control. So they kind of overcompensate in a sense to where they're going to control every situation so that they don't have that feeling of not being in control, because that's their first introduction to it.
Yeah. But see, that control had me, I was starting to win because of that control. So that's why I became very confident in myself. We do it my way. Why? Because I've been through A, B, and C. You haven't. So unless you want to go through that and deal with the trauma that I had, that's your choice. But I'm trying to make your life easier because of my wisdom. So like you can let me play my role. You play yours. Not everyone can do that.
Right. And that's actually how that trigger taught you. That's how the triggers teach you.
Yep.
And that's what's important to remember here. That is the point.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in regards to what I've learned to be more accepting of free will. I've gotten to a point where I'm just like, if it's meant to happen, it'll come to me. I won't have to fight that hard for it.
Right.
So, and it's true. I've had instances where it's happened, like with Jasmine. Like I got Jasmine. Like it was ding. Like, it was like it could have been a whole ordeal. It could have been a giant divorce. It could have been lawsuit after lawsuit. No, it was easy peasy.
Yep. I love that.
Not like that.
Uh,
I'm not saying she's easy.
Yes, I understand. Yeah, fascinating. Nick.
I'm saying life was in agreement that yes,
Mhm.
you need to be together. So they made it
Yeah.
happen very easy.
Yes. There is a reason why Jasmine is in your life, and she is your biggest supporter. I
That's
don't
right.
doubt that a bit.
I agree.
And speaking of Jasmine, and thank you, Nick, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jasmine, now Jasmine, oh my goodness, what about your triggers? Have you been triggered lately? What has
Oh,
it
yeah.
taught you? I am very curious as to what you have to say.
Well, you know me. I am very well. Last year was my year of learning and exploring emotions because previously I was always in work mode and I would keep myself constantly busy, especially having ADHD. It's so easy just to be on the next project, And you know what I mean? Just jump into new thing, right? So I never really was emotionally available, right? I would literally, my logical mind would literally sit there and tell me, is this worth it? Is this not worth it? And then I'd be like, do we get anything out of this? No. Okay, chuck it, move on to the next. Like the only thing that would have me slow down were animals. Other than that, like I really was lacking in the emotional department. So this year, now that I've been exploring emotions, it was a lot of triggers because I allowed myself to go to an emotional space and experience those triggers. So it was a rough ride in the beginning of it because I had to learn that emotions aren't who you are. They're visitors. You know what I mean? They're messengers. So they come and they give you a message. You're supposed to have them come by, get the message, and let them go. If there's an emotion or a thought that keeps ruminating around your thoughts or keeps coming back up, it's probably because you haven't really gotten the message, or you're probably ignoring the message, or you don't want to see the message. But if something keeps coming up and you've already thought about it and you've already thought it through, then you're in overthinking territory because there's a message you haven't gotten. So once I learned that, then it started to make more sense to me. Then I could apply what Grandpa Brian and Sophia and Theresa were saying, was of not letting it take over. Because golly, me as a teenager, like my mom would tell you, I didn't care who you were, what you were, who you thought you are. I didn't care if you were a pastor, an elder, a teacher. I didn't care. Like if something was happening and I thought it was wrong, I'd be like, why are you doing that? You know that.
What's interesting about what you're saying is knowing a bit about your past and previous lifetimes. In those previous lifetimes, you had a lot where people were constantly taking advantage of you, and you felt like you couldn't take that control back. And here you are in this lifetime going, you know what? That doesn't work for me anymore. Been there, done that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I used to speak my mind out back then too, like being a healer and being an oracle and but being like on what is it? The pay tab once you get hired by like the royalty or the government, right? And they're giving you paychecks to do what you're skilled to do. And you get the same people not learning the lesson, right? Because spirituality is all about learning the lesson and having these moments of life and humanity and, you know, experiencing life in a beautiful way that makes you better and makes you a more complete soul, right? And then I would get these people that would come back with syphilis every freaking time. I'm like, I already cured this. You know, you got to stop cheating on your wife, right? And they'd be like, well, you see the gold that's here? I'm paying for both. I'm like, whoa. The person who provides for me is Source and God, not you. So I had a problem with it back then too. That's why.
It's fascinating how that works for you. But do you have any specific recent triggers with maybe coworkers or something like that lately?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had a guy today. I'm in the dental field, right? Who was refusing to take an X-ray, and I said, "Okay, well, and the thing is, I don't know why. Like, maybe it's because I'm short and I'm little. Like, men that are taller than me or that, you know, are men, they want to like tower over me and like look
Kind of domineer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like with body language and stuff. So I just stand there and I just look at them and I'm just like, you have two options. Option one, we take an x-ray and we can help you. Option two, you can go somewhere else.
It's pretty simple stuff. Got a little thought energy yourself, don't you? Little archetypal energy.
I you know, and I said it as nicely as possible. I'm like, I was like, look, I need this x-ray to figure out if there's an infection, if there's a break, what happens if you have a cavity underneath it and we close it up. I was like, all of these things are liabilities and we need to make sure that you're okay before we go ahead and put something on top of it. And he didn't like it, so he left. And I was like, okay. But I think what I've learned about triggers is I've learned to pay attention to my body, and I've learned to pay attention to as soon as I get like those cold sweats, or as soon as my heart starts racing, or as soon as I'm just like, as soon as I feel that adrenaline going, I'm like, whoa, all right, let's, like, you know, like in
put the brakes on.
Yeah, Inside Out. Have you ever seen that movie with all the little emotions? I'm like, all right, everybody hold, freeze, wait.
I love that movie. It's a cute. Yes, very true.
Don't touch the control panel. What's going on?
Definitely from the control panel.
Yeah. And so then I go, I'm like, wait, heart, what's going on? Like, I don't know, boss, but are we about to fight something? Because I'm ready to go, right?
Yes.
And then fear over here is like, but what happens if we, what? And I'm just like, okay, fear's not ready yet. Okay, what's going on, right? And then I just do like a quick rundown of like my possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And
red
then I'm
alert,
like,
red alert.
Choose? Mm-hmm. And then it's like, all right, brain, is this worth fighting for? And they're like, nah, not worth the risk. And I'm like, all right, everybody shut down. And then they're like, okay. And then I like what Grandpa Ryan does. I'm gonna start doing that now, being like, okay, so you said X, Y, and Z. So what was your motive for that, or what were you hoping to hear for after that? Because it kind of sets it back to them, like why are you trying to push my buttons right now? Like,
what are you hoping to achieve here?
Can you
what is your motivation? Go ahead, Sophia has a quick comment.
I feel that's where the power of having a conversation and having the skills. Who started the conversation? Why did they start the conversation? You know, and knowing you don't have to talk to anybody, save law enforcement, perhaps a boss if you'd like to stay on the payroll. But any and all interaction is most of the time optional. So if you're conversing with somebody and there's some fly BS going on, pump the brakes or pull the e-brake. You don't have to. It's a have to. It's not a want to. So if you're doing that and, be a victim, okay, you'll get over that one day or you won't. You know, but knowing the art of conversation. Yes. Knowing if you're more evolved than that person, well, then perhaps you need to give them space. But I'm not going to lower myself to anybody. No. That's
I had that hard time of like, let's match energy, right? Because back then I would ignore myself, and I'm like, okay, so there's like extremes, right? You go from ignoring yourself to matching energy to then making a choice. So it's like, are you going with the current? Are you fighting the current? Or are you actually finding something for yourself?
Are you paddling upstream or are you going with the flow?
Yeah, but either way, you're controlled by the stream. So when are you finally going to take that control back? So I like the idea that at every engagement, interaction, and there's this book called That Arguments Are Not Arguments, which basically means that people who are arguing is not necessarily a bad thing. It's the energy that's behind it that's a bad thing.
Right.
If people are talking and discussing and trying to find truth, that's totally fine. That's what you want. But there are certain steps, like there's called like the rules of debate that most people don't know. Like if you start insulting me or insulting my person or like me as an individual, then that's it. You lost the debate, because if you can't argue the topic, there's nothing else. You ran out of equipment, you ran out of evidence, you ran out of points, ideas. That's it. You're done. So that's one of the rules of debate that I like to put into a lot of my things. But family gets tricky because family you think is supposed to be like this perfect, this movie, and like the book says, the Bible says, blah, 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 right? Like everybody has these expectations about family. And I started treating them like corporate, like, hi, how are you? Oh, this is great. Oh, I'm glad to meet you. Oh, okay, that's good. Like, just, you know what I mean?
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, sweet, silly. Like, we can talk and stuff. Like Sophia said, let's talk about stuff that we agree on, because right now it doesn't seem like you really are in a place to have a conversation. I think that's the thing that Grandpa Brian did really well, is that he opened it to a conversation. Like, so why did you feel that way? Or why did you say that? Or why did you see this? Or, you know what I mean? And it kind of helps put everything back into perspective. And then it also helps not to be too, take everything too personally. I used to believe that if it was happening around me, then it was my responsibility to fix, right? Because I could see what was happening. But now I've adopted the let them attitude. You know what I mean? If they are ready to see the truth, or if they are ready to acknowledge, improve, because it's free will. That's one thing I will not argue with anybody, whether you're religious, spiritual, or whatever.
Bingo.
It's free will.
Yep.
So in that free will, I am allowing you, I use the word allow, to choose your life and to choose your progression, right? Once they show me that they are ready, and by show me, what I mean is respect me, do not belittle me, just common decency. And if you can't achieve that, then you're not at my level, but not in a situation where you are even ready to hear me explain. Because that's another thing that I learned. I constantly over-explain, and I'm constantly trying to defend
discernment.
myself. Constantly, and it's like, it doesn't matter how much even if I beg this person, like my family or something, to try to understand me, like, why can't you just understand where I'm coming from? And it's like,
when you don't have that need to have to prove yourself, that's when you step into mastery. That's how it works. You don't need to do that.
No. So now I just allow them. If they want to do that, okay. It has nothing to do with me anymore.
Right.
Their actions are not a reflection of who I am. Because like Grandpa Brian was saying, and Theresa was saying, once you've done that self-development of what do you stand for? What don't you stand for? What would you die for? What would you let pass? These are questions that you have to answer, like on a personal level. Like, I already know that I've gotten myself into trouble from protecting animals and protecting kids. And my ex before, he got super heated and pulled me aside and was like, you could have died from that. I can't believe you went over there and put yourself between two large men just trying to save a dog. It's just a dog. And I thought about it, because logically he was making a lot of sense, right? Like, I'm tiny. I went ahead in front of two big guys and a dog that was like getting hurt. What was I gonna do? You know what I mean? But for some reason, reason was not there. Logic was not there. It was just total reaction. And I put myself in between these two men and a dog, because that's what I believed in. And then I sat down, and you have to ask yourself these questions. Is that something that you are willing to die over? And I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, I am. Because if I would have stayed alive and I would have walked on, and I could hear these dogs screaming in my ear and crying, I would not be able to live with myself. Even if I did survive, I would not be able to live with myself. So once you find your boundaries, which just basically means what keeps you in a healthy space. So when you get triggered, it puts you in a panic state, or a flight or fight mode, right?
Emotional state,
Self-defense oftentimes. Too.
Oh, yes. And what does that do? Raise your cortisol levels. It raises stress hormones.
Well, it takes you back down to your root chakra, which is survival instinct.
Thought and fight or flight.
Exactly. And it's not a bad thing. That chakra is there for a reason. Like if you're stuck in the jungle and you have to fight for your life, of course. But why does a jungle have to be your mom, your dad, you know what I mean? Like, there are certain situations where you can use that discernment and be like, is this a fight or flight mode? Do I deserve being put into this kind of position? Now I'm getting older. Okay, I'm getting wrinkles. Now I'm thinking about, like, do I deserve wrinkles for this? No, I'm over it. I'm not going to put my body through that.
Well, the question is, do I give permission?
Yes.
Or do I give a permission slip to anyone else to
allowance?
Yeah. Do I do that, or do I just let them blow it off and walk the other way.
And can I control my emotions long enough to figure it out?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if you have to walk away and like say, oh, I think someone's calling me, and think it through, go ahead. Just do that. There is no real rules in how to play this game.
No, there aren't. And the thing is that, back to what I was saying earlier, everything can become a self-trigger. You can trigger yourself in that situation, in those situations, even with family, because oftentimes what triggers us with family members is we get this feeling that they think we're making a mistake, or that we're wrong in our approach, or that they have the answers and we don't, or they know better and we don't. But making mistakes can trigger your harshest inner critic, which is yourself. And because they challenge the belief that you must always be on your game, at the top of your game. Perfect. We lost Jasmine. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
But if you equate your own self-worth to your performance, whatever it is you're taking responsibility for at the moment, even the littlest thing that you do that isn't perfect can feel like a failure, especially when you have family members going like this, looking at you and going, ha ha, you know,
under that lens, like,
Ha, ha.
ooh,
yeah,
well, that's not what I would do.
So, but the mindset often stems from your own sense of perfectionism, your own fear of judgment. And so they're reflecting something you don't like, but you don't know at the moment that you're going through it that you don't like it. So the best thing to do is to just pull back.
Yeah.
Listen. If you can stand to listen, you know, they might be teaching you something that you want to learn yourself. Go ahead, Jasmine. Sorry.
I was just going to say that I learned that a lot of it was because I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to figure out why they didn't like me. So that's why I started doing a lot of like work into psychology, because I'm just like, what is it really me? Like, what's going on? Because I couldn't, my brain could not rationalize the hostility, and I couldn't figure out why this is coming from. So yeah, it is a, how would I say? Carl Jung talks about it, and he says it a lot in his books, that there are, I think even there's a lot of motivational speakers that talk about it too, but there are core foundations, core emotional needs.
Yes.
The 6 needs, like the need to be wanted, the need to be accepted, the need to have a community, there's these needs out there. It's an emotional need, an emotional requirement. And each opportunity, each of these triggers is speaking about one of those emotional needs. And if you can figure out what it is, if you can listen to the emotion without being consumed by it, then you'll be able to figure out what that need is and find a different way to get it.
Very well said, Jasmine.
Well
Very
done.
well
Yeah.
said. Impressive. Sophia had a quick question.
I would say in
comment.
the process of self-discovery, making sure you're not embracing some unhealthy codependencies. Because knowing that I stand whole and complete, regardless of who is in my life, regardless of what they think of me, I'm going to shine to my highest degree. I don't owe them anything. And I guess that's a benefit of coming from a beyond broken, dysfunctional, genetically similar stranger situation, is that I didn't have a choice. Either I was going to stand up in my power, my truth, and be authentic, or I was going to die. And I got better crap to do than worm food. So it's a choice. It's like other things, man. You get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and then you finally get at a frequency that's healthy, that you're digging, that you're not surviving, right? But yeah, a lot of people don't even know the definition of codependency, even though it's in the word. They don't even know they're doing it because they were raised by it. So identifying that pattern and knowing you're not meant to address it by yourself, ain't that the catch? By someone who knows and understands that behavior.
There was a time in our society when after World War II, going into the 50s and 60s and early 70s, where the attitude in general, as I recall from society, was that we are supposed to be a codependent family unit. It was called the extended family, and people took care of each other's kids, and you had different relatives helping to raise you. I must have had all these cousins that I called aunts and uncles. They were that close to my mother. So you're in this, you develop these natural, they're just codependent relationships, and we think that's normal. And so a lot of us have carried that forward into this day and age. And we're still trying to express that to the youthful people, the younger ones who are coming in more spiritually aware and awakened and going, oh, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm independent. Yep. I'm divine. I'm my own
much
self.
More awake.
Much more awake and aware than we were. So you've got literally hundreds of thousands of us out there that don't realize how to interpret the meaning of codependency, like you just said, and what that really means to the health or not so healthy balance of a family.
Yeah. Yeah. So truly, in my opinion, the lesson here is your trigger's not your enemy. It really, truly is your curriculum.
Yeah.
And the shift from why is this happening to me to what is this showing me about me?
Yes.
And that triggers are the teachers disguised as discomfort. And that really you want to honor them.
Yep.
You want to honor it for the lessons you're learning. Fascinating discussion, you guys.
Yep.
Absolutely fascinating. I did want to and thank you, Jasmine, for all your input. It's always invaluable, in my opinion. All of you guys, it's just invaluable information, and sharing is really where the power is. But tonight, I wanted to, as we're finishing up, and I know we're coming to the end of the show, Sophia's got some cards to pull for the group, and we love this part of the show where she brings her wisdom, her cards, and her magic, so to speak, and lets us know what's going on in the collective. And 9 times out of 10, actually 10 times out of 10, her cards, they resonate with the message, and as they're popping out right now. So Sophia, what do you have for us to finish the show off with?
Well, 78 cards. 22 of them are major arcanas. Arcana means secrets. Major means big. So you've got 22 major arcanas, big secrets when shit's really going down. And then you have the remainder of the cards, which are minor arcana. So this evening, the major arcana is stepping forward. And I love it because why that trigger is actually a teacher. Okay. So there's a couple things we can do with a trigger. We can curl up, we can be a victim. We can replay that thing that happened decades sometimes ago and beat ourselves with it one more time. Or
spank me.
Evoke stillness. Oh, this is creepy.
Okay. Let me pull this up for you.
Come on.
Okay.
There you go. Oh, you had it right there. Well, back a little bit
Hang
more.
on. Let's do us all a favor and just show you my messy camp house. How about some of that? I really don't care. Ask me if I care.
There you go.
All right. Here we go.
So that's the Hermit card. Okay. The Hermit really calls to solitude, to silence, to centering, to going within yourself, to find your path, to shine your own light and not be dependent upon anybody to show you which way is for you, period. So we have Isa, which is Proto-Germanic for ice, inactivity, which is the stilling of the mind. You want to hear spirit? That's why we meditate, right,
That's
GB?
Right. Yeah.
You want to hear spirit? Less of this, more of that, more of this, So, but I love the Hermit because no one's when we were young, was anybody going to tell us what to do? Really? I mean, you have to do it this way. Is that a dare or a double dare? And the hermit really calls us. You know, if you want to be a teacher, if that trigger is a teacher, guess who's teaching us the lesson? The lesson comes from within ourselves.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. So if something is setting you off,
Yeah.
stare at it, make it smaller, write it down, phone a friend. I don't care. The only way out's through it. It's like a righteous mosh pit. And all you really want is the t-shirt, not the elbow to the face.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I
Go
love
within,
that.
find your own answers, bounce some educated shit off of somebody that understands, and stop feeling sorry for yourself and start having a good time. This doesn't last forever. It's not supposed to.
Right.
Get your answers and keep trucking and focus on a higher frequency, be it courage or higher.
Right.
So it's not easy. And if it ticks you off, write it down and ask yourself why. There might be freedom in that trigger.
I love that.
Yep.
That is all.
You have a comment, Theresa? Thank you, Sophia. I just
Thank you,
love
Sophia.
Thank
and I think you can look. I jotted down some things you can use to help gauge whether you think you might be open to being so triggered all the time. And basically, in psychology, it would go along with Jazz. It would go along with signs of stress. Because let's face it, a lot of our triggers are having to do with anxiety or stress. So there are 7 warning signs physically that you'll be experiencing, and watch out for these because they all can lead you to being more vulnerable to your own triggers. Difficulty breathing, panic attacks, blurred eyesight and sore eyes, sleeping problems, fatigue, muscle aches and headaches, chest pains and high blood pressure, indigestion or heartburn. There are more on these lists. You can queue them up, and do some Google searching on your own. But if you jot them down and you honestly go through each one like a checklist and say, am I experiencing these things? Oh, that's why I'm being so triggered. My body, physical body, and my human psychological mind are responding to all of these events and activities that are going on in my now. It could be a job situation or me moving or just dealing with a group of carpenters and plumbers that are fixing your house, things like that. So once you identify those are the things that could lead to all the triggering that you think you are experiencing. And as Robert was saying here earlier in the chat, if you really love yourself and have good self-respect and want to have good self-control, treat your body well with love and care. Don't put things into it that are going to make you sick. Don't put things into it that are going to cause you stress and anxiety. Don't expose yourself to people that don't mean well. Remove yourself from that. Isolate from those situations. They taught you what you didn't want, but you don't want to stay there. You don't want to park yourself in that space with those kinds of people. But once you get to a state of mind where you're able to not be as stressed out about things and you get a good night's sleep and you eat well and you don't put stuff in your body that screws with your head and heart, then you'll be less susceptible to these types of triggers. But even if you're not, it's the triggers that are teaching you. So you don't want to ignore them. You don't want to never not be triggered because then you wouldn't learn anything, So just accept them as, hey, here comes another coach, Here comes another Reverend Charles. Here comes another, Jim at the shop, because they're teachers and they're here to help you and coach you through it. So I'm grateful for my triggers.
Awesome.
So,
well, I hope everybody got something out of this tonight. It was a different perspective. I want to thank everyone on the panel for their contributions. Sophia, Grandpa Brian, Nick and Jasmine, Theresa. everyone in chat, all those who are watching and will watch this in the future. Stay tuned next week for a new episode on this human curriculum. This is 1 of 10. This is the first one.
Yeah.
And so I just want to thank everybody for their participation and for all your love and support. It really means a lot. And it's motivating for us to get up here and to share this kind of information. So
Yep.
I just want to thank everyone for that. And we so look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep.
Love and favor on everyone.
Yep.
And check out Brian's going to be on, is it Milky Way or Lucky Stone's channel? Tomorrow night, Grandpa Brian?
Lucky Stone 888.
Okay. Lucky Stone 888. Check it out. Let's all be there and support these guys. So
Hey.
appreciate and love you all. Love, peace, and chicken grease, baby. Have a great weekend and look forward to seeing you all next week. So take care. Peace and love.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.